I guess this means absolutely nothing in the year of 2024. I was going to keep my life private, but people kept asking me questions. About a month ago, my wife decided to have a conscious uncoupling. It came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it at all. Just one day, I was served papers and I was blocked on all social media accounts. I suffer with ADHD, which means I have hypersexualization, which means there has been sacred affairs in our marriage. But we had repair conversations about that, and we were very open about that. So I don't think that was a deal. So I'm not even sure what it was. But if it was the reason, not to slander her or anything of that, but that would be slightly ableist to have a problem with that. Here's some marriage advice for you all. When you have a union with somebody, usually it can go pretty well if you have a direct connection with your wife. The issue comes in when external forces starts to hurt your marriage. And what do I mean by that? Well, it could be, and in my case it was, friends that she has, her therapist. Big therapy corrupts the minds of women all the time. Her mom was in her ear, and it always got bad when she hung out with her mom. And the liberal media. Those are all things that will tear up your marriage. And I think one of my biggest mistakes is I allowed those external forces to come and corrupt my marriage. And unfortunately, in the state of Idaho, you really can't do anything about it. If a woman in Idaho wants a divorce, she can just get a divorce without any reason. I guess this absolutely nothing.
Bradley. I mean, I guess in 2024, this means nothing to you because all I did was have a sacred affair and she left me. The divorce came out of nowhere. Also, let's not forget your classic. Women are not supposed to be wet. So it might have come out of nowhere for you. But the rest of us
means absolutely nothing.
This guy looks... Oh. This is the guy who claimed to be a marriage expert and a relationship expert and tried to say that you don't want to make sure that your girl is wet. Came out of nowhere, dude? Really? Her conscious uncoupling? Her leaving your ass? Really came out of nowhere? You really are that clueless. It's obvious she was unsatisfied. And she was sick of your so-called alpha male bullshit. You come onto a social media platform and try to claim that you know all this stuff about women. And it's all bullshit. Dude, you want to make sure your girl is thoroughly pleased. And yeah, that is a two-way street. But to try to tell guys, oh, you don't want her to be wet. I'm sorry, that's extremely uncomfortable and extremely misogynistic bullshit. So yeah, she left your ass. And it's not that the ring means nothing. It's that it means nothing to you. At least not the right thing. To you, that was probably a bill of sale. I've heard that. I've heard that from guys. That ring on your finger, that's a bill of sale. I own you. No. It probably meant a lot to her at the beginning. But it started to lose its significance the more and more you lost respect for her and her body. So if it came out of nowhere, it means you were paying less attention to her than you were to reality.
I guess this absolutely no.
It's the reason people hate white people. Shit like this. Conscious uncoupling. She left you. Sacred affair. And blaming it on your ADHD. Jesus fucking Christ. I get it. I understand. Because this is fucking stupid. And then this shit, and then there's a big thing about all these women, like they were all friends, and the one is a narcissist, and she manipulated everybody. It's called discernment, guys. And y'all use these therapeutic terms, and it's all of it is manipulative. All of it is manipulative. This is why people don't like white people. Because it's just this drama and we're using therapy words, and this is how I feel. No, stop it. Stop it. Y'all all are just fucking children. This is why people don't like us. Fucking ridiculous. Someone fucked you over. That's the end of it. It's called discernment. Every single one of you need to fucking use it. Learn what it is and use it. Because this is ridiculous.
I guess this.
I took some notes during your video, sir. Conscious uncoupling really stood out for me. Instead of just saying, my wife is leaving me, she broke up with me. You were giving it fancy ass words to make yourself feel better, and clearly it's not working, so maybe try something else. Then you say it came out of nowhere. But right after that, you blame your cheating on her on your ADHD, mentioning that you've had a lot of conversations about that cheating. But then you say right before that it came out of nowhere that she served you divorce papers. That it just came out of nowhere. And that this doesn't mean anything in 2024. Well, first of all, it doesn't mean anything to you either, because you cheated on your wife multiple times because you said you've had affairs, which means more than one. And it doesn't matter if you've convinced your pitiful, pathetic mind that it's your ADHD causing you to cheat on her, instead of getting help for your ADHD, which, by the way, that's bullshit. We all know it. It's not true. Yes, some people with ADHD do suffer from hypersexualization. I know that. But that is usually associated with other traumas, because ADHD on its own does not do that at all. And it's unfortunate if you do have trauma related to sex and that it caused you to be hypersexual in your life. That does suck for you. But it is your responsibility to get help for it. It is your responsibility to manage those trauma and manage the symptoms that come along with them. And again, it sucks if you have trauma. And I'm sorry if anything bad happened to you. But it is not an excuse or a reason to cheat on your wife and then be mad at her for leaving. And you have the fucking audacity to call her ableist for leaving you if she's leaving because of the affairs? Are you fucking serious? You can be with someone for 25 years and support them as much as you want. You can be with them for 50 years. But the minute they cheat, you're out the fucking door. That's just most people's rule. You cheated on her multiple times. There's only so much support one can give you. And if ADHD was your reason to cheat on her, she doesn't have to stick around and be victimized by the symptoms of whatever the fuck it is you have. It's not like she's leaving you because you have cancer. Well, see, that would be cruel. Oddly enough, most women who have cancer that are married get left by their husband because they can't take it. Go look it up. Women stick around for those they love. They will suffer with you. Men usually run. So your wife left you not because you have ADHD, but because you're a piece of shit husband. You're a bad man. You're not a good man. You're one of those men who make us want to choose the bear. And you saying that it came out of nowhere, how could it have come out of nowhere when you have multiple conversations about your multiple affairs? And I'm sure that if she was the kind of woman to talk about those affairs with you, she'd talk to you about other things. But you probably didn't listen. Because you're that guy who said that you don't make your wife wet. If you can't make your wife physically excited to sleep with you, because that cuts your pleasure, apparently. Girls, we're all thinking the same thing. But if that cuts your pleasure, and so you are willing to compromise her physical comfort and safety during intercourse to preserve your pleasure, I can just imagine what else you're willing to make her sacrifice for your comfort and happiness. You make shit up to justify your shittiness. It is insane. You knew this was coming. You're only coming on here hoping to have a little bit of empathy and sympathy from people. But you're only going to get empathy and sympathy from other misogynistic men who hate their wives and hate women because women don't do what they want them to do. You're not going to get any good person, any intelligent person will disagree with you. Nobody intelligent or kind or normal will agree with you. Only bad people will agree with you. And we kind of should thank you because bad men are going to be like, hey, this guy's right. And so they're going to be telling on themselves that they're shitty men just like you. So that's why your wife left you. Not because marriage doesn't mean anything to her. Clearly didn't mean anything to you when you cheated on her, right? She didn't leave you because she's ableist. She left you because you're a bad husband who did bad things and she has had enough. And probably the fact that you're spewing a bunch of misogynistic bullshit online is part of the reason why she left. If I had a partner who had an account like yours, I would be so goddamn embarrassed. I wouldn't just leave them. I would pretend I never knew them. I would block you everywhere right away. After your first fucking video, you're lucky your wife is as nice as she is. I would have left you at the first affair. I would have left you at the first video. I would have left you like fucking 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You are lucky she stuck around that much. You are a pitiful, pitiful man. You're a sorry excuse for a man. And I hope that you know that. Of course you know it. You think you're better than everybody else. Go and have the life you deserve, dude. And if your wife ever sees this, good job, girl. Good job. We got you.
Nothing.
There is so much. There's so much to cover. That I'm going to break this into sections. I'm just going to take like his video bit by bit, and I've decided this is going to pretty much be my afternoon. So stay tuned. More to come. But yeah, this right here doesn't mean much of anything if your marriage doesn't mean anything to you. And yours doesn't. And you know how I know that? Because when something means something to a person, they self-reflect. They sit down and they look at their pieces of a situation and they figure out what they could have done differently. And what's so funny is you know where you screwed up. You just refuse to view it as a mistake.
I was going to keep my life private, but people kept asking me questions.
You wanted to keep your personal life private? Sweetie, you posted about your marriage all the time. All the time. You posted that it wasn't a husband's responsibility to get his wife wet. You posted a whole video saying that wasn't a husband's responsibility. I mean, tell me that you do not sexually satisfy your partner without just flat out telling me. Actually, wait, that is just flat out telling me you can't sexually pleasure your significant other. And you're confused about why this didn't work out? Because I'm pretty sure if I wasn't pleasuring my spouse and I just told them that that's their problem and that it has nothing to do with me, that I'd be single. Pretty sure they'd start looking for the door at that point. So maybe start there. It's a good place to start.
Decided to have a conscious uncoupling. It came out of nowhere.
It came out of nowhere. You know what always bothers me about this statement when I hear it from anybody who was in a relationship and it ended poorly and they come up to me and they go, it came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. It didn't come out of nowhere. Because the key to any relationship is communication. Communication. You have to talk to the other person. You don't talk to social media. You don't broadcast to the world the issues in your relationship. You talk about them with the person you're in the relationship with. And from what we get out of your video, you refuse to take responsibility for your actions, so you are not a safe person for your own spouse to communicate with. You know who I talk to first when I have a problem with anything? Is my spouse. Because that's why he's there. That's why I have a husband, to talk to him about everything. Because he is the yin to my yang. He is my other half. We complete each other. All the cliches that I can throw out there. But you refuse to self-reflect. You refuse to look at anything going on. And so you're not safe to communicate with. So of course, she goes to other outlets for communication, just like you did. But she went to people in her actual life who are aware of the situation and all sides of it, instead of just jumping on social media and shit posting about her marriage.